So this is actually a very exciting video because today I'm going to be talking about the exact location that DLC 1 is going to be taking place. And on top of that, maybe some idea of what's going to be going on at that map, because today we are going to be talking about some Season 1 intel. And one of these Season 1 intel, one document specifically, has given us not only an exact location of DLC 1, but as I said, an idea of what's going to be going on there. Of course, I don't want to waste any more time, and we're going to jump right into this document, and then we'll talk about it right after. But for that, I do gotta apologize in advance. There is a couple of Vietnamese locations and words, and also a couple of Russian ones that I'm probably going to butcher the pronunciation of. Even with me Google searching how do you pronounce these words and hearing them, I still don't pronounce them correctly. But either way, let's go and get into this. How it starts off is Re-Oprista redacted. Author Dr. William Peck. Background. August 16th, Operation Undertaker is given formal approval to be carried out by Special Operations Group Omega. November 1st, Operation Undertaker is complete. Dimensional gateways open around the world, including one near Hong Hao District of Quang Tri, Province, Social Republic of Vietnam. November 8th, Chairman Tribukov comes to an agreement with Chairman Pan Van Dong to construct a KGB Spetsnaz Omega Group facility outside the district capital, Khe Sanh. November 9th, approval is given for Operation Redacted to be carried out by Special Operations Group Omega. November 11th, construction begins for Omega Group site near Khe Sanh. Mission status. Omega Group operations site secured near Khe Sanh on November 11th. Cover story about recent discovered U.S. chemical weapons being accidentally detonated has successfully resonated throughout the community. Site construction has begun. With the completion anticipated by February 15th, the Colonel has expressed in using the site to begin testing on Redacted. Additionally, Operation Redacted will focus on further testing with redacted text. Formal request to begin curating volunteers for experimentation has been submitted, pending approval. Expect our first full report before March. Dr. William Peck, Exoscientific Phenomenon Research Lead, Omega Group. So you guys heard it there yourself. We got an exact location of where DLC 1 is going to be taking place. And of course, that is being Khe Sanh. And of course, they also mentioned, Hong Hao, again, butchering all these names and all that stuff. But of course, I'm very certain we are going to Khe Sanh, because obviously with both the previous Ether storyline and here with the Dark Ether storyline, we love going to these facilities where these crazy experiments were taking place. So we're definitely going to be going to Khe Sanh, which is amazing to see that we just got an exact location with Season 1 intel. Now, funnily enough, this isn't the first mention of Vietnam inside intel. We actually had it in the pre-season 2. We did have mentions of a place in Vietnam, a jungly place, but they were kind of vague, and I kind of figured what they were talking about, but I wasn't entirely sure, so I didn't make a video on it. But since this is right on the nose as it gets, yeah, we got to be talking about this, right? So we're going to be going to Khe Sanh, which is actually a very nice looking place from what I saw when I looked it up on Google. Now, of course, the reason why we're going to be going here is because the Omega Group built a facility here. And of course, this leads us to the other question, is why Omega Group built the facility here? Well, they also say that there is because after End Station, or Die Maschine, or whatever they did there, they opened up dimensional gateways around the world, and one of those happened to be by Hong Hao District. And of course, Hong Hao District and obviously the Khe Sanh are very close to each other. I looked it up; they're like literally I think 11 kilometers away from each other, relatively close for that's why they would build it next to it. So that's probably why they built it. Now, we don't know exactly what they did there, because when they did go into what they were talking about, they said Operation Redacted will focus on further testing with redacted text. Formal request to begin curating volunteers for experimentation has been submitted. So, we get a general idea of what's going on here. They're testing on something, and they're testing on something, and it has something to do with volunteers. So I can't imagine they're doing the nicest things here. So we're probably going to stick with that, you know, with like is crazy scientists doing these evil experimentations type of deal thing that we've always had in zombies, which you'll love to see. But either way, that is the main drop of this intel, which is insane that we got this like, you know, probably like 3 or I guess 2.5 months before even, you know, the map is even going to drop. So it's pretty cool. I like that we got here, but I do want to talk about the location and further a bit, of course, be Khe Sanh, because I actually want to look this up, see if there's anything they could play into here. And pretty much what the only things I could find that were of relevance were pretty much what they mentioned here is when they said that they're using this cover story about recently discovered U.S. chemical weapons being accidentally detonated has successfully resonated throughout the community. Yeah, so that the reason why they even mentioned that is because Khe Sanh was actually a location of, or I guess a very popular location from what I looked up, during the Vietnam War. And this was a big old fight that caused a lot of Vietnamese to die and not that many, I guess, UN or US troops to die. And of course, it was a place they set up camp and they were fighting these people. It was like a really big fighting location. So this is the reason why they do say that they found US chemical weapons, because there was a U.S., I guess, place there, right? I don't know what you call these, like when you're in war, I guess a camp. But either way, that's what the only thing I could find. Fun note about it that I did find along the way, or remembered along the way, because I thought it seemed very familiar, but Khe Sanh is also a location of one of the campaign missions inside Black Ops 1. So I guess that's cool. Another thing I should probably point out is that this is not near the Vietnam mission inside Cold War's campaign. They are relatively far away. I think very far actually. So I don't think we're going to see too much connection between those two, the campaign mission and this zombie map, but they'll probably reuse some assets and stuff like that because that map looked amazing. And from what I've seen of images of Khe Sanh, it looks amazing. So I'm really excited for that whole jungly look, or not jungly, but green look. It's very I don't know. There's a lot of green there. I don't really know how to the right way to describe it. But either way, what I want to end this video on is a couple other things that were mentioned along the way here. Because yeah, we talked about the main things, talked about, you know, the location and also why the location is there, and also the real life story stuff behind all of this. But one thing I want to touch on, or a couple things here, is one of them is Operation Undertaker. I'm sure most people don't know what Operation Undertaker is because this was explained in another intel. And what Operation Undertaker was is pretty much Die Maschine, what happened, or what Omega Group was doing, and like in the end station or Die Maschine location before, and how they restarted the particle accelerator and opened the dimensional gateways that then started opening around the world. That's what Operation Undertaker was. And another thing that I find incredibly interesting is the person writing this. It literally says author, Dr. William Peck. And this guy obviously is a part of Omega Group, and the problem with that is that he does not have a Russian name. In fact, it sounds very stereotypically American type of deal name, like William Peck. That sounds pretty stereotypical American, you know, so it's weird to see that what seems like potentially is an American is working with Omega Group. But more than that, he's literally a lead. He's a research lead in Omega Group. So that's something to keep an eye on. But either way, guys, that's about it for this video. Hopefully this video was informative to you guys. Hopefully you guys learned something new about this new location of DLC 1 that we're going to be getting with Season 2 of Cold War. But regardless, that's about it for me. If you guys did enjoy this video, definitely do all the normal YouTube stuff. Like, subscribe, bell, share, and all that great stuff. But I'm going to go, and I'll catch you guys next stream video, wherever the heck it may be. And laters, guys.